Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome to Capricorn. Welcome to the winter solstice. As Capricorn is one of those cardinal zodiacs, which is a turning point zodiac, we are going to be ushering in winter. Yay! As this is a pre-recording, I do not know what snow, cold, crazy is happening here in Canada, but knowing Canada, we probably have some pretty fun snow right now. Today, I do want to look at what you can expect from Capricorn. Now, before we get going, I do want to wish all my friends who have a birthday in the next month, happy birthday. Now, please remember that we're more than just one zodiac sign. We have up to 3. There's a whole system that happened when we were born. I do encourage my friends to go on to one of the free sites. There's a lot of them. You can Google astrological birth charts or free astrological birth charts to get yours. All you need is your birthday, the time you were born, and where you were born. That will help you get your sun sign, your moon sign, and your ascender. The 3 zodiac signs that kind of help comprise you. This is why when you read your horoscope in online, once upon a time it used to be in the newspapers and the magazines, it sometimes fit, sometimes didn't, had characteristics that kind of fit. That's because it's only one of our signs. So take a little bit of time if you can and go check it out. It helps you to really connect into the zodiac signs as they come in, because they sometimes impact us a bit more. Knowing no matter who, what, where is in your sign or in your chart, Capricorn will impact us because it is going to be very dominant. So let's look at Capricorn. Now, the cards that I've chosen, this is the Tarot Draconis. So if you're a dragon fan, this is a fantastic deck it's a dragon, hence dragon. Our Tarot Draconis. I am going to be pairing or matching it with the Sacred Earth Oracle. Again, that grounded stability, because we're going to need it. When we look at what's happening, well, Capricorn always comes in on winter solstice. So as we're getting to the height of that holiday experience, and then it transcends into the new year. And January always brings in those January blues. So it kind of encompasses all that. This year, we have Mercury retrograde. It comes in on the 29th. So adding in even more kind of wobbly ground. So that stability and groundedness is going to be imperative. So let's look at this. What can my friends expect from the reign of Capricorn? So even without the cards, knowing what's going to be happening energetically in the cosmos and traditionally what happens, it doesn't have anything to do with intuition or psychic abilities. It has everything to look at that looking critically at something. We know that the end of the year can be challenging because it brings up a lot of new and uncertain times for people. We know that the longer nights can really impact people negatively. And again, we know Mercury retrograde is no walk in the park. So knowing that, it's about using our head, using that third eye as our thinking center. What do you need to support you during some of those bumps? And you knowing you, taking some time to reflect into what and how some of these things have impacted you in the past, right? Looking at how do you deal with the winter blues? How do you deal with those longer nights? Does that impact you? And what does that look like? How does post-holiday, that post-holiday shift affect you? And how do Mercury retrograde usually impact you? That way you can start to have your tools at hand. I love it when the cards just say, yeah, whatever you were just talking about is exactly what we wanted you to say anyway. So let me just show you exactly what I want you to know. This is, of course, the Queen of Pentacles. Taking that time for you, nurturing you. And yeah, that's going to be important. But like I just said, we need to be using our tools. We need to stay grounded. She's one of the most grounded cards there is because she takes that Mother Earth persona. Taking that time for us, do a little bit of reflection, taking that time to make sure we are grounded, taking time to make sure that we have what we need to thrive and grow. Again, now we have the Ace of Swords. Aces are about beginnings, ahas. Well, the more grounded and stable we are, that reflection, oh yeah, will give us a lot of aha. We don't have to be channeling the divine to get that. We can still get ahas from anything. We need to have that critical thinking, which means questioning. Does not mean being critical of self where we are tearing ourselves down. No, we don't want to get into, oh, well, this is how it feels like when I'm in January. This is how it feels like when I'm doing this. This is how I react. Let's go down that rabbit hole. No. This is the sword. Swords are about using our head. Swords are very Vulcan-like, guys. They're not about the emotion. We're the ones who put the emotion in there. So making sure that we are reflecting in, gaining knowledge. That's all we want. If you're starting to do some reflection and you are starting to wander down one of those rabbit holes, that's when I want you to put your pencil down or your pen down, stand up, breathe, and do something else. You need to stay in control of you. And that's going to be a key piece for you throughout Mercury retrograde, throughout Capricorn, throughout January and into February. Staying here, staying in control of that thinking center. I would encourage you, if you do not have one, start a spiritual binder. It's nothing. Oh, mine is buried under stuff I want to put in said binder. It's just a binder, guys. It's not hard to get. You can make it as pretty and creative as you need and want. Important pieces. A, we're using the old technology. Phones, computers, we know, are impacted with Mercury retrograde. So it's going to be important that we use, again, our tools and our head. It helps us to get the information down. And when we do that, when I say reflection, it really means writing things down. So you can go back and check in. On my Ko-fi page and in my Patreon page, I do have supports where I send in and out reflection sheets. I send intention sheets. Those are really helpful to making sure that we're staying on track. We're staying in control of us. And we're being mindful of what's happening all around us because we're being accountable for us. And that accountability is an important aspect in peace. So this is the Strength card. It does have the Roman numeral 11 on it. Way back in 1909-ish, Arthur Waite had a download where he changed strength from the 11th card. He flipped strength and justice. Justice is now the 11th card in most Rider-Waite descendant decks, and justice is the 11th. Many people find it flows better because the number 11 is 1-1. Justice is very balanced. In the Fool's Journey, it flows a lot more. For me, it makes more sense that Strength, which this is the card, is the 8th card in the Major Arcana. So again, it talks about that inner strength, that understanding, that use of our abilities and skills. So Capricorn is asking you, A, to be accountable, reflect in, check in, and ground. This is going to be a lot of foundational stuff for you guys so that you're strengthening you and seeing things really thrive. We have some pretty dominant female energies with the Queen of Pentacles there, and then that beautiful Strength card. No matter what gender we identify with, over the next 4 weeks, we want to bring in some of that divine feminine nurturing energy and send it our way. It's going to help with some of those new beginnings. All right, let's see what further insight and guidance we can share with my friends for the reign of Capricorn. The Hierophant. We have a gatekeeper here of a major arcana. The Hierophant, of course, is the keeper of keys, those opportunities, that community support, those teachers. So like I said, there's a lot of opportunities which was identified in the Ace of Swords. The Hierophant really brings it up and says, hey, there are a lot of opportunities. There is resistance to it. We're going to be bucking the system left, right, and center. It's going to be important that we follow some of those teachings that have brought us this far. Build off what we know. Build off our strengths. That resistance, those challenges, we need to overcome them one step at a time. How are we going to do that? Well, by A, staying grounded and stable. It really helps us think and use that frontal cortex. So any resistance, any fear or challenge that we have, well, will be released. We can start to use our thinking, our creativity, our natural skills and abilities, and connect into the tools that we need to overcome those challenges, to step through, because there's a lot of natural turning points here already, because we have, of course, winter solstice, which is the turning point of season. We have turning point of the year. So we have a couple natural points that we can easily start to see that movement and that shift. And should we take the Hierophant's hand, Keeper of Keys will open more opportunities, more natural points for us to see those shifts, those changes that we need to come forward so that we are seeing more prosperity, more abundance, more growth for us. That's not surprising. It's not a happy card. The Three of Swords. The pain, the heartache. I said there was resistance. Well, there's your resistance. The past experiences, that pain, that fear, it's going to swirl. This is where we need to stay here in that frontal cortex, not allowing our heart center to, well, run the show. Easier said than done, won't lie. However, the more we are calm, we remember to breathe, because that is one of the skills that we lose the minute this comes in play. We start to take those shallow pants, and that stops us from using up here because we are getting into survival mode. Survival mode will not help. We need to use our creativity, our thought processing, that entire aspect. So remembering when we're in this point, this part of the check-in I talked about earlier, we need to be checking in. How are we feeling? What's happening for us? Oh, we're not breathing so well? Okay, take that breath. That's why I said when things start to get overwhelming, I want you to take that break. Breathe. Just breathe. So when we are breathing, we're able to stay here. We're able to think things through. Tools that you can use. I've got lots of them. So my friends who are new here, welcome. I give you guys the guidance, but what's more important, I also give you guys tools. I've got meditations, I've got mindfulness practices, I've got healing practices. They're there for you to use. They're free. I am not a monetized channel at this point, so you can always just come in and use what you need. I do have a meditation I did back in 2020 with Archangel Metatron, where it's releasing this. We don't revisit it. We don't go in and go, oh, let's go through that like a fine-tooth comb. No, we're just getting rid of that heaviness and that gunk. It can be really helpful in, getting rid of some of that gunk. The important piece here is we don't want to be overwhelmed by the past traumas, the past pains, and the past fears. We want to stay in present mode, in control, taking care of ourselves. The only way we can do that is being present and accessing some of these tools and using our supports. I love it. The 9 of Pentacles. Of course, this talks about, we don't need to reinvent the wheel here, guys. All the opportunities, all the growth. What we're looking at is building off what you already have. It's a challenge to do, especially given some of the stumbles that we can see the rocks, and it's whether we hit those rocks and how hard we hit those rocks, because we know there's resistance and challenges there. Well, we need to be focusing in on some of that abundance. We have abundance in all areas of life. Sometimes it's harder to see, but know that when we start to build off what's going right, those abundant points, you're not reinventing the wheel. You're not causing yourself more work. You're building off of something that is already started. It helps to strengthen us. It helps to see that abundance start to really flourish. Think of it as, weeding your garden, if you will. You're making sure that you're giving time for you, caring for you, and really prioritizing what you need to, where you need to be, what aspects need to really have that love, that sun, that water. And speaking of water, should things get heavy at any point in time, from next 4 weeks or even more, don't forget how helpful water is in dumping some of this. Intentional bathing really helps. And especially if we've had a hard day, going in and having a shower before we make dinner, deal with our family, deal with the home life, it really is a game changer, because you're able to wash away some of that prickle, some of that gunk that builds up when we're stressed out and working really hard. Now, we do have a natural pattern here. 3 cards across, 3 cards across. So when you have that multiple 3, the angels are telling you something close to your heart needs to be expressed. So like I said, those reflections are going to be really important for you. Okay. What further supports and guidance will help my friends get the most out of the reign of Capricorn while minimizing the pain and challenges? I'm not sure I finished my sentence, but a little while ago I said I have supports on my Ko-fi and Patreon page. I'm hoping, if it isn't up now, I may have already been able to post it. I am hoping to have some added supports that you can gain for intention and reflection. I'm putting some of the sheets that I've naturally given my Patreon and some of my Ko-fi members access to some reflection and intention sheets that help my Patreons over the last year and a bit. So working on it. I have no idea where that is, as it's a pre-recording. At the time of recording, it's not up, but that doesn't mean that by the time this is posted, it won't be up. So if it's not up, check back. I will be putting it up. I'm hoping to have it up before the new year. We'll have to see what December brings for me. Very much something I talked about earlier, reaction. When we are stressed out, when we are in that point of pain, we are reactive. When we're not breathing, we have that shallow pant. This is when we start to bark at people. We need to be mindful and present as to how we're feeling, what's happening for us, so that we're not so reactive. This will only cause more heartache and pain, more challenges for you. So making sure that we are present and aware of what's happening for us, so we're taking care of us and we're not causing ourselves more problems. Consistency. Making sure that this is not just like a one-time off, oh, I will just check in once and see how it goes. Know that that won't be enough. You are going to have to do a constant and consistent check-in throughout our day. Where are you at? This mindfulness for you, the more it becomes part of your day, the more you're going to be in control of you. Additionally, the reflection and intentions, the more it becomes part of your experience, whether it be a monthly piece. And guys, none of this has to be hours long. We're talking minutes, if that. Checking into self is like, okay, where am I at? What's happening? Okay, you know what? I might want to add a little bit of cinnamon to my coffee, ground myself a little bit more, grab some tiger iron, maybe put some essential oil in my diffuser. Check, done. Staying in control can take seconds, right? The intention reflection, maybe 15, 20 minutes. Maybe. We're not talking exorbitant amount of time, but a little bit of time really will go a long way in fueling you. It's just making it part of your habit. Sometimes that's the hardest piece. Stretch. Sure, yoga stretching would be good, but the stretching talks more about you pushing that box a little bit. You don't want extreme discomfort, but when we think outside the box, we use that frontal cortex to really process and use our creative elements. We are going to create opportunities. We're going to attract possibilities that we hadn't done before, but it will naturally bring us out of that little comfort zone, the little box our ego has put us in. So making sure that we're okay with a little bit of discomfort and challenge, because challenge, as much as we don't like it, helps us to grow. We just fear it and resist it sometimes, and that can be really to our detriment. And finally, goes with the stretching, surface. We need to get beyond that superficial aspect of self and really connect in to that core self. If we do not go past that superficial piece, we're not going to gain the insight we need. Part of the superficial part are protections and barriers that we've naturally put in throughout the last how many years so that people don't hurt us as much. It's how you get through adolescence. It's how you kind of get on your feet and get going. So we need to dig past the piece that people think of us and get into some of that core stuff, who we really are. And the Strength card really reaffirms that it is more than just what's on the outside. Because when we start to work with what's on the inside, so those reflections, those intentions, and checking in for self, well, that's when we're going to start to see some of those natural pieces, well, flame into existence. They're not going to be part of the shadow self. It's going to be part of our normal everyday self. which will only add more tools and supports for us. So Capricorn is getting past some of that, really starting to hit home to get some of that foundational stuff done. And that doesn't surprise me, as Capricorn likes to get the work done. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that this helped you to understand what you can expect from Capricorn. Know that what Capricorn is starting here, it's a start. They're getting the ball going. This will take some time. And what's more, it's also going to be something, like I said earlier, that you want to incorporate into your everyday. Now, if you did enjoy this session, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, as it helps people find me on the sea of YouTube. More importantly for you, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I have a lot more teachings, healings, and guidance coming forward. You don't want to miss any of it. So the best way to stay connected is, of course, through subscribing. Now, like I said earlier, I do have elements of added support and guidance for my Ko-fi and Patreon friends. I do have links below if you want to go check it out. Again, I want to thank you guys so very much for joining me today. And I hope that Capricorn does get that ball rolling for you. Until tomorrow, my friends.